Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets on Tuesday nights. Last week, the party, still within the magnificent mansion, were determining how to deal with the army of the Empire of the Four Queens, especially since they have been given reason to believe from the, was it the memory? It was the memory.
It was a simulacrum.
It was a simulacrum. From the simulacrum, I couldn't remember how you got him. Yes, from the simulacrum of Thandros Draknir. Given reason to believe that, Coffer's loyalty, specifically to Tatsuya, would likely drive him to that army to try and carry on Tatsuya's mission, which goes against what you're trying to do. And so the party utilized the knowledge that Laramendes and his team gained of the generals of 2 of the 3 generals of the army of the Four Queens. Should have gone with 4, shouldn't I? 4 queens, 4 army of the 4 generals. Anyway, I did not do that. The 3 generals of the army of the 4 queens, getting in touch with 2 of them, and explaining that you desired an audience to approach them. One informing you that you needed to have a quorum of all 3 generals' approval to do that, and the other seeming more interested in saving face in the presence of such powerful magic as a 9th level sending, and instead deciding to threaten you.
It's a solid plan, you know. Piss off the powerful wizard. You know,
well,
goes well.
I mean, again, they challenged you to kill them because they said it won't matter that the army will survive without them, that the nation will survive without them. Definitely trying to put on this air that, you know, they understand that you're a powerful wizard, and they realize that that could mean anything magically. So rather than trying to look strong, trying to negotiate, they simply assume that you will not try to negotiate, and telling you that that won't work for you. Killing them won't work out for you.
Yeah.
So it is a plan, and it is very different from the other one. So you get this sense of why there are 3 generals, that they can have different points of view and come to possibly the best solution to anything by weighing the different options that these extraordinarily different personalities come up with. Perhaps. You haven't met them, you don't know for sure, but from what you know from your studies, from the very brief exchange with them, that's a possibility. Anyway, after that sending, and continuing to determine what the best way to approach them, as Yukikaze began to lay out a plan, being that he is the general and will be the one expected to handle this negotiation, very likely, but trying to make sure that everyone's on board with this, and crowdsourcing best ideas for it. Raiken once again began complaining of hearing Tatsuya's voice in his head, which, to the best of Laramendes' massive amount of magical knowledge, should be impossible were it caused by any form of curse or magical influence from an item or spell, leaving not much in the way of theories, at least not magically. Raiken went on to have a brief one-sided conversation as he was very clearly arguing with Tatsuya, and eventually seeming to be explaining things to someone who was unaware of the situation. Again, the party unaware of any of the other side of the conversation that was happening. I have to keep adjusting. But ending out on this idea that something must be done about or for Tatsuya. So we pick up in this scene in the mansion, Raiken with Tatsuya in your head, having just told you that he considers himself separate from the Tatsuya that is in the gem, but considers himself more important to you because he is, in his words, the memory of Tatsuya, the man you believed him to be before all of this, the one that lives in your heart. Now, whether or not you believe that is totally up to you, but that is what was said.
Raiken is going to excuse himself from the group.
Alright.
I need to think on some things. I will be back. We will leave.
You know how to reach us if you need us.
The mansion and take a stroll outside the inn.
Alright, so Raiken heads back out of the garden toward the mansion, leaving you all there, saying that he'll be back. Does anyone in the party, Larry, you responded, but does anybody else have anything to say as he's leaving? Having witnessed this one-sided and clearly challenging conversation, as it was a lot of arguing on his part, and seeming to try and get someone in his head to understand things, seemingly someone other than Tatsuya. Leah?
Yeah?
Anything to say as your father is leaving?
Nah.
Okay.
Bye. Have fun.
Wow. General?
I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say to him. Hold on.
At least he didn't add my brother after that this time. Just vanish in fire. He's actually walking out.
Right. What do you need to think about?
It's something personal.
Are you sure you're okay?
I will be fine. I will get things worked out.
Don't try to handle everything yourself, though.
This is something that I must handle by myself.
Don't submit.
I never submit.
I like that answer. Alright.
And
But remember, we're here if you need you. We're here if you need us.
Thank you, Yukikaze.
on your way out the front door, you just see this fucking dragon sitting out in the water, I guess.
No, that was just to represent that Cyrus had left to go be spare dragon.
Oh, okay, never mind. You're gonna go join this dragon over in the water then. Boop.
I think there isn't water. That's void.
I thought there was like a little bit of water, but okay.
No, I think like there's very little space around the thing because we kind of maximized the floor space of the the mansion itself. So it's
What
disconcerting
happens if you
for
fall
people.
into the void?
I don't think we should experiment.
Yeah.
For now, I think we have to.
What if you have an accident? What, like if you shot yourself in the foot? Don't do
Mendar
that.
just looks over at the simulacrum and smiles.
It wouldn't be the first time he's killed himself.
It looks again. You see the simulacrum pointedly look at its clothes for a moment before meeting your eyes again and sighing. Yeah, so,
I think that Jebel had said something in Tailspire. I can't.
I
don't
can
know.
check. Look,
It was,
I asked who can teleport.
who can teleport? There we go.
That's how you experiment.
me.
I can
There you go.
dimension door and
You gotta see for those, though.
plane shift.
Anyone that you can teleport someplace without having to see it?
A teleport you don't need to be able to see. Dimension door you just need to be able to describe. I mean, if you're going to send a simulacrum into the void, the most logical thing is to send one that can send, so that it can report on what it sees as it goes down farther.
Well, we got one of those.
I don't think that's an experiment that we need to conduct in...
Probably more pressing.
Yes.
Still, eventually, once this is done, experimentation.
Or with your question about teleporting, about us getting to the army, in which case I think the likeliest means of us doing that would be via plane shift, which Leah's able to cast, and I can prepare it starting tomorrow as well, so that there's another person who can perform it. It's joking, still falling.
Alright.
Fourth ending. Oh no, not again. For returning, we can also instruct Thandros on how he could put together again the teleportation circle, the guild here, and upon ascending from us, reconstruct it so that we could teleportation circle back here for more certainty and fewer resources.
Can we not just plane shift back to the mansion with those still around?
We could not plane shift to the mansion.
No, we can't.
In order to
Alright, you
plane
need
shift,
the thing to the... You need the...
yes.
Yeah. And plane shift out, but not in. Can we make one? For the mansion?
No, anything from the mansion disappears when it leaves the door. And I don't think that it would be feasible with this, with the spell as it currently stands, to be able to devise a tuning fork that would allow you to go there. It's possible if there were certain modifications that one might be able to figure out a way, but it would take a lot of experimentation. It's possible that Lysandrius can plane shift to his.
Sounds like it's worth looking into.
Conjuration spell, right?
Most teleportation is.
Magnificent Mansion.
I think so. Like, again, most planar stuff is conjuration.
Yes. But that kind of experimentation isn't necessary for now, since we don't have a means of creating such a mansion that one would be able to plane shift to. The easiest way will be the teleportation circle. I suppose, depending on other resources. And, I mean, actually, it's possible the easier method might be to go into a rope trick and plane shift from there, which is also something that could be possible, but less sure than going directly to a functional circle. Did we have more that we wish to speak about the generals, the army of the Empire of the Four Queens, or General Clevergill?
I did what we were gonna say to Clevergill.
We?
But-
You mean me?
Yes. Yes, what Yukikaze is gonna say to.
Because I don't think he's going to want to listen to you guys. One.
Yeah, he didn't seem to appreciate us speaking to him.
Yeah.
Hey, that means that's your problem.
No, doesn't mean it's my problem alone. It means
Yeah, it's
I
your
gotta
problem
be-
to have to deal with that to actually do it, though.
yeah,
I'm sure we'll be in your head the whole time.
yeah. Well, we had to word it to where, man, I actually forgot some of the stuff we talked about last time. I know it was we were discussing about the definition of being part of a dragon's horde. And we don't know if we did kind of make a binding contract of the way we spoke. Because we don't, because it might be the situation the same as what our lovely Raiken did with the person from the Feywild.
And until we can do enough research to be confident of the answer to that, we cannot risk going against Azurai's work, or going against the restrictions placed on us in our agreement with Azurai.
At the very least, at least we can always find the loose scale again. So if we can't do it ourselves, we can at least point any future adventurers to where they need to go.
If it is stationary, we could certainly attempt to triangulate where it is being kept, such that somebody else could.
I was just thinking of the amulet.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about using the amulet to triangulate it.
Yeah. I was just thinking that, it points to it. So we can always use that to find.
Does Laramendus think that that action would be against the agreement that we had made? I mean, not direct. Basically, if other people were to know where the scale is kept, basically it's splitting hairs, but any magically binding thing should function in a way that if we split hairs correctly, we're just assholes, not dead. All right, so I don't care about Azurai's location or sharing that, because one, we have no easy way of finding it out. That's not relevant to things. What we can find out and share is the scale's location.
Oh, yes. That's the best way to put it.
I mean, on the sheet, yes.
So I was going to run through some of it again anyway, but Leah's making a charisma check to try and understand the something about the nature of your relationship with the dragon.
Adding proficiency bonus, you said.
Yeah.
Isn't that already added if I'm?
If you're rolling a skill,
so it's like the saving. It's like my saving throw number then.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm proficient in saving.
Yeah, so you're effectively rolling a saving throw.
Okay, so that's 24.
Okay.
Sorry it took so long. I made a whole mess. I tried to find, like, I had to move some stuff around the other day.
Mhm.
So I had to, like, find my dice tray, and then I found no D20s, and then I yanked my headphones out, and then everything just went to shit.
No problem. I'll be cutting this stuff in the final record anyway. Anyway, 24. So, and unsurprisingly, you are familiar, as you are, with agreements with powerful magical beings. And this feels a little reminiscent of the pacts you have made, too, in your very short life, where you agreed to do things for an entity in exchange for magic, and it was always a quid pro quo. Now, you had a quid pro quo with Azurai in that you agreed to give up the blue scale in exchange for the red and green scales, but this was not the end of your relationship, and it is here, and the talk of becoming part of a horde, that really speaks to you and your personal experiences with magical agreements, Leah. What you get this sense of, this bubbling inside of you, just as you compare this to your previous relationship with Zephyr and your current relationship with Zintharamil, is that Azurai is getting something out of this beyond the scale. He's got the loyalty that you're going to keep Elsementh alive because you can't seal him. He has the scale. And you have this agreement on the books that you're going to have this meeting with Elsementh to lay out the future relationship of all of humanoid kind with Elsementh. But as part of his horde, he's got more. He's got you. He's got your power. He's got your reputation. And he is benefiting from that. And in a relationship like this, to which someone like Azurai is no stranger, it has to go two ways. It simply has to balance in some way. Magical beings always find ways to balance the books, because they don't want to be gaining the ire of creatures that can hurt them, or can muster the resources to hurt them. So, while it may not be currently plainly obvious what's going on, you, Leah, feel like if everything the party has discussed is true of Azurai, of creatures like him, and of this relationship that you've been bound into, that even Doral, and even Seltharis, and even other random people who heard that you made an agreement with a dragon said, oh, that's troubling, then it is likely that you are also being afforded something from this relationship. Again, being able to pull on the clout and reputation of Azurai, perhaps among dragons. Again, you're his treasure. He's going to want to protect you from things that would take you away from him. So, what you know, Leah, to sum it up, is that you may be able to do things that are detrimental to Azurai. There may be some magic he's used to prevent you doing it directly, but anything you do against Azurai may also work backward against you, because you are tied to each other through this bond. Just like if something bad were to happen to Zintharamil, you'd lose your powers and perhaps worse things, as yet unknown, but you know that if something bad happened to you, things would go extremely poorly for Zintharamil. You are tied to one another. Fates connected, after a fashion. And this feels similar to that. Not as strong, not as obvious, but you have this inkling, this part of you tied to your experiences in your young life that says you should be careful about how you handled a relationship with the dragon, because it could negatively impact you if you try to use it against him.
Okay.
That was a lot. I'm sorry, but
Yeah. I'm gonna try to let the others know what I feel.
yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm capable of role-playing that, because that was a lot of information.
It was a simple concept that I explained a lot. If that helps.
Yeah. So basically this feels like it's similar but not quite as strong to the kind of bond I have done in the past and present. Being if we should be careful what we do.
If that's the case, then we should probably avoid saying that we could point people to the scale. It's something that we, on our own, can spend time looking into to see if we can truly pin down the results of this agreement. But until we know that, we should probably avoid taking indirect, even, actions against Asherai.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So the most that would be done from us against Elsementh would likely be that people will know how the ritual functions for sealing the dragons, since there will be people with us who are observing it, and the information is also already at the university.
I'm not sure the party was aware of that.
No, Yukikaze was aware of it. We had that
okay.
talk. I told him that I gave Kazunari's notes to the dean.
Yes. Amara.
Yes. God, it's been so long. Out of game.
The thing was, we weren't openly sharing it. It was a worst case scenario if we died kind of thing, wasn't it?
I think so. I can't remember what Laramendas had specifically asked of her with it, but she does have it, and so if she went against, like, there is no binding contract to prevent her from
Sharing it, yes.
spreading the knowledge. I think Laramendas had asked her to be cautious with it, or something to that effect. And did leave it as a bit of insurance should the worst happen to us. But that doesn't change the fact that there will be people with us watching us perform the rituals. So it is the knowledge will be out there after we deal with, or after we attempt to deal with the other dragons. I don't know that the notes that Laramendas had passed along from Kazunari had information on how to unseal the dragons. But I think Yukikaze would remember that Laramendas had a fairly easy time magically understanding what would need to be done to reverse it.
Yes.
So it wouldn't take... It wouldn't... It would be, knowing one direction, it's feasible to come up with the other.
Yeah, that is a good way of stating it.
Like,
Magically
it's not
inclined,
trivial.
easily parsed out, but even without magical inclination, it's not beyond the scope of intuition.
But yes, so I think that we should not take any actions against Elsementh beyond the fact that the ritual will be known by dint of our own actions, not through of doing what Azurai wanted us to do, which is seal the other dragons.
I'm trying to think whether if we should word it in the sense of we were naive of knowing of any repercussions, and after the fact after we thought about it, we realized we might have dug ourselves a hole with the dragon to Clevergill, or
I mean, we made the agreement with the dragon specifically to minimize the harm that the dragons are able to perform.
Yes.
Trading one scale for two, and getting two of the more dangerous scales in the process.
And also, he said that he would not be involved with the fight.
We do not know what Elsementh's brood will do during the fight until we can speak with Elsementh. If he knows that he is not going to be sealed, I think it reasonable that he would at the very least not want to participate. But if he is wanting to, him fleeing might induce the others to flee, which would be its own problem for us, and also for him. If his goal is for the others to be sealed, he wouldn't want them to flee. I could see him taking actions against the army, just not to the fullest of his powers. Depending on how the conversation goes.
Alright, I'm just trying to think of how to word everything.
I think telling Clevergill that we were naive in our agreement is likely to come across poorly with an ally who is going to be fighting with us.
True. So
I think we should make clear that the decisions that we made were to have the greatest amount of harm reduction as possible, given the resources that we had.
At the current time.
The fact that there are others that would be able to address the things that we were unable to in the future, but we can't.
And we were also in a very tight spot in front of a dragon, so dragon breath continuously in our face for quite a while.
I mean, we're about to fight a lot of dragons, so why then did we not fight that dragon? To the point of, I don't think saying that we were looking down the barrel of a dragon and were concerned about our lives is a good statement.
He didn't seem like, well, we don't know if we killed him we would have got the scales from him. Like, knowing, did he look like he magically pulled it out of his space?
I think that he was perched atop them. But it is possible that there had been a contingency in place to teleport them away should he die, or with some command. As long as the two are together, it wouldn't have disrupted magic in such a way.
Yeah. I have thought back on it and why we didn't just fight.
I mean, we didn't fight because it was very disadvantageous to us to do so then and there.
Yeah.
And if we died there, things would be much worse.
So we want to put it in the wording of
We had also already been talking about saving one of the dragons and not killing it, and then there was that opportunity. So
It is true.
Elsementh would be better than the
That's a good
Karasoth
point.
anyway.
why
You've
do we
been,
I
you've
don't
been
think
planning
that's the
to
thing
work
that
with
we need to-
Karasoth.
I don't know that that's something that needs to be fully conveyed to Clevergill. I'm just like, look, we were gonna keep one of them anyway, and we decided that's one.
Elsementh was easier than Karasoth, so let's go with that one.
So we should word it in the sense. I would want to do it in the sense of saying, General Clevergill, being that you're our ally and we're working together, I wanted to, in learning more about you, with this training we're doing, I want to inform you of a situation that we are in. During a time, we were in the presence of Azurai, Azurai, and what's the grandfather's name, or the actual one?
Elsementh.
Elsementh. Azurai and Elsementh. Azurai. So we were in front of one of Elsementh's brood, Azurai. And based on our knowledge and our circumstances that we were in at the time, we decided to trade one scale that we need for sealing the dragons, which was Elsementh's scale, to get 2 other dragon scales to sealing 2 others. In doing so, we don't know if we unintentionally made a contract, but to our knowledge, we didn't believe so. We thought, well, no, okay.
I think that don't say to without our knowledge, right? It just with given the agreement between us, part of the agreement involved us not taking actions against Azurai, and so we can't be involved in sealing Elsementh.
At least not unless that's what Azurai decides he wants.
It's true. If Azurai were to decide that it is better for him to have his grandsire out of the way, then
should I say it like that? Unless he decides that he wants his grandsire out of the way.
Of course, we
My
haven't talked to
concern with-
Elsementh yet, and we're still planning to. So
I'm concerned about giving him hope about our ability to do anything about Elsementh. If there is that suggestion that should Azurai decide that Elsementh is a hindrance to his plans, that we could perhaps do something, then I could see someone wanting us to attempt to convince him that that's the case.
So should we do it? We should just do it in the sense of saying we were, based on our knowledge and everything, we decided, or that we knew our resources we had at the time, obtaining 2 scales for 1 we thought was the most advantageous, and that we cannot move against Azurai directly, or we can't go against Azurai for our agreement. You just keep it simple like that.
I think so.
Would you like some assistance just from the fact that your character should be good at this, Malachi?
Not assistance, but if
I mean,
if there's knowledge I would have, then I would say okay. But,
sure, I'll put it in simplest terms.
You know me. I'm not a person like, even though you can't see my dice, I always say what I actually rolled. I like the outcome to be organic. You know what I mean, as much as possible.
As much as possible, but do remember that we're all playing characters that are better or worse at things than ourselves.
Okay.
So there's going to be, you can rely on things that your character should be good at, even if, you don't know them, like military tactics. Your character knows them. Let me put it this way to you, so that you can put things together for yourself. As a military leader, and dealing with the military of the Tritons, you know that putting things in terms of we were forced into this situation, we didn't know this was going to happen, we can't do this. Those types of words about convey not being in control of your actions, and those will come across poorly to a military leader.
Well, I wasn't going to say. That's why I said in the first part that it was based on, or just with the knowledge and resources we had, we made a decision. That's why I said that way.
Sure, but it still feels passive. It still feels put upon you. So your training in leadership tells you that you should turn the reality of the decision into an advantageous play.
It had always been the plan to ally with one of them, right?
Yeah.
So when the opportunity arose, it just arose. We just took it.
You can say that.
They presented it to us as if it was their idea.
And it was just unfortunate. It's just the dragon that they hate the most.
Well,
yeah,
you don't really know their feelings about the dragon, do you? Like, you haven't talked to them about it.
Yeah, and like they also, if they worship Aboleths, it's possible they're on better terms with the dragon than we might have thought. Especially if they worship an Aboleth, I guess, no, they would want the dragon, they would want Tiamat dead, which I guess might be why they agreed to the plan originally. I don't know. Food for thought.
So, in the wording of it then, it should be more along the lines of, when we were going to retrieve the scales, we were presented with an opportunity to ally with a dragon to minimize their army and minimize how many dragons we were fighting and possibly have assistance. No, not possibly. He says we were looking to gain assistance in turning the dragons against each other. And we were presented with this opportunity with Azurai, and we traded one scale for two, and also had them
to emphasize that it wasn't worth the risk to try to fight the dragons there. It's more advantageous to do this.
To broker this agreement and get the two scales.
Mm-hmm. That's a spin, yeah. That's your, yeah.
Okay.
I will not say if it's the best spin or not, but that is the direction you want to head in, according to your military knowledge.
Well, and we want to be good allies.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to tell him this and maximize our strategy together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else have any input? Any more? I thank you guys, everyone, for your help.
I think that I have said everything that I can think to say. As the person with 10 charisma.
I thankfully have pluses in charisma and performance. All right, and so we are also real quick based on the spells that you have available, Elsementh, and what we're going to be doing, and waiting to get. We have to wait till tomorrow to get a hold of the last general of the Empire of Sturgis, correct? Okay. So, because I got to inform him after I tell him this, to inform him of us going to meet with the Army of the Four Queens to coordinate with them.
So, until we have sent to the final general, we don't know that we are meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay, so
we are hopefully meeting with them. We are in talks to schedule a meeting with them.
Should we just wait till tomorrow to address Clevergill and until we have all the information?
I think that the longer we wait about the dragons, the more it seems we're being dishonest.
So tell him that right now, and tell him we are currently setting up a meeting with the Empire of the Four Queens.
I think that
we should invite him to the meeting too.
We can certainly see if he wants to participate.
Oh, that's a fair point. Okay, yep, that's actually true. Having him go wouldn't be a bad idea.
Gonna keep throwing more NPCs into your meeting, Tristan. You shouldn't have picked 3 generals. You should have picked 2.
Who's your third general?
Alright.
I see only 2.
Oh no, I'm saying that since you had 3 over there, that means that there's just more people for you to run in the conversation. If Clevergill is there and Sultharis is there, and
oh, that's right.
So you should have gone with a smaller number of generals.
Look, I went with what felt right.
I mean, 3 is a solid number. It's a good idea.
It's far from all of their generals.
Yeah.
That's what they sent on this detachment.
But like 3 for any large force going out for something this important seems like a good idea.
In gaming, in gaming, they use sets of 3 for a lot of things because it's usually not too many and not too much. Keep people playing.
Rule 3s.
And the odd number means there's tiebreakers, so you don't have to.
Yep.
No, you can't. They're split decisions. Unless each of the general has their own idea and they're all like, none of them can agree.
They determine everything by Rochambeau.
It's like you have all 3 of them at an impasse, but they're all military people. And so soon enough, you can have 2 people who are at an impasse, and one of them is more flexible in that arrangement. Because they just watched their friend get stabbed.
Exactly.
Alright, give me 1 second and then I'll be ready to talk to Clevergill.
That's fine. I was going to go do another scene since you guys got this one, and then we'll come to that scene. So... But I don't like flipping rapidly back and forth between scenes because I think people lose their train of thought, so I like to let scenes come to a conclusion. Anyway, so, Raiken, wherever the hell you are.
And he made
there you are.
The end.
You come back from the magnificent mansion into the room in the World Over Inn, where Kubriel, in her angelic form, or this smaller, more human-looking version of this angelic form. Draconic, but not many arms and wings in this case. Folded wings. Stands at attention and watches you come into the room. Are we to train, my ally? I stand ready.
Not yet. I have some things to take care of.
I see. I cannot, or shall not, carry you there, as I once did, but I may walk with you in a way I have not before. Would you have me?
Oh, very well.
She steps up to you. There is a bit of a grin on her face as she seems to be pleased to get to use this body in somewhere other than the celestial planes. Lead the way, my ally.
I Raiken will continue walking and exit out of the inn. He doesn't have anywhere that he's like specifically planning on going. He just wants to take a walk, and he will convey this to her as well. But he has no goal destination in mind.
That is well, Raiken. I too would enjoy a walk, I think. She seems unsure. And as you pass out of the building, Ruby will bob a nod at you. It is late, so she'll say, we'll have things cooking for dinner ere long, so make sure you come back before the army does. They ate me out of everything I prepared last night.
Thank you for the heads up, Ruth.
Of course. And she's gonna go back to what she was doing, but you'll see this slight pause, and you'll kind of feel her gaze as you move toward the door and out, but she does not say anything further. She lets you go. Once outside of the building, and under the sun as it heads towards sunset, you're going to be able to look over and see many groups of soldiers training with a large number of Tritons, and you're going to see that they're gathering them into ranks and having them march and charge and do these exercises that you simply didn't have the numbers and the coordination of your own instructors to really pull off, and you begin to really appreciate like what the Tritons can offer here, that you simply didn't have the time and the manpower to impart. But they are all along.
It makes Raiken think of his days training in the Arcosian military.
You remember back, thinking of when your brother went off to join the military and would come home from time to time for a dinner, and he would have his shined and buffed armor with him, always removing his helmet before entering the house, showing up with it on, even though that didn't seem really necessary. It was all part of the personality of being a soldier that you looked up to, and you remember when you followed in years later and joined up as well, and going through those same motions and taking that same pride that Tatsuya did in wearing this armor, in caring for this armor.
Oh, Tatsuya.
Kubriel following along behind, seeming intrigued by the sights, the sounds, the smells around her, in a way that is surprising, being that she has been here in this world a great number of times, a great deal of time, at least, as the tiger. Will finally, not really looking at you, but she'll call, while faced away from you, and you know that she is addressing you, as she says, "Something troubles you, my ally. A foe yet unvanquished.
A ghost of my recent past.
There are many ways on this plane to deal with ghosts. Shall I invoke them?"
I don't know if, what kind of ways? I don't know if they would work in this case.
Exorcisms and appealing to the gods, which oversee the dead, coming to mind first, of course.
I don't think an exorcism is going to do anything in this case.
Too powerful a ghost. Should it
My brother
manifest?
was indeed powerful.
Should it manifest, I will help you fight it. In the name of Cord.
I just wish I knew how my brother and I got so different.
There's going to be a silence from her as you say this. Stretches for several long seconds before she says, "There are many stories of the champions of our god, Raiken. Do you believe yourself to be exactly like all of those that came before you?"
Well, no. I feel like I can become a better champion for Cord.
I do wish that for you, my ally. There have been many great champions that you intend to live up to and exceed. But my point, Raiken, is that all of them followed Cord in their own unique way. No two champions could be mistaken for one another. That is why each has a name that is written on the stone of history and is remembered for their deeds. For no other champion perfectly replicated them. Do you take my meaning?
I understand what you're trying to get, but the other champions of Cord didn't have the same upbringing as I did, while my brother and I did. And yet, he chose a path of essentially collateral damage, and the path of even making a pact with to become an do you become an archdevil or an
Devil.
Okay. He became an archdevil to try to succeed with his plans. I'm thinking I can't even fathom. How could he turn to such a way?
If, perhaps, you were engaged in a combat against great odds, but you knew that the outcome of that battle was paramount, tantamount to the destruction of your world and everyone who lived within it. Would you choose to fail and let the world end?
No, I would never choose to let it fail. I would keep fighting to the very end.
To the very end. But you know that if you die, then you have failed, even if you died fighting, if your goal was to protect the world. But you, O champion of Cord, lord of thunder and lightning and combat, have a means to defeat any enemy, to save your world, should you choose to succeed at any cost. That option lies open to you at all times. Have you never considered it?
I've never considered a path that was similar to what my brother took, even if it meant saving the world. At what cost would saving the world be?
Did you not consider calling upon the power of your gift from Cord to give of yourself ultimately to him and ensure victory?
Yes, but that is myself. I have the right to choose to give my life. I don't have the right to choose to let others die for whatever plan you choose to go into motion like my brother did.
So there is no circumstance where you could see that a small sacrifice saves the larger number of people and find it acceptable. You do not see the parallel between sacrificing yourself and sacrificing the smaller number of willing others.
There were many who weren't really with his plan. Do you not remember when the Black Dragon attacked the city? I'm sure there were the green dragons that attacked Arcosia, and I'm sure countless others when the other dragons were brought back. They didn't have a say.
It is the purview of our Lord to ensure that combat is fair and meaningful, that the combatants are equally invested, and that their victory or defeat is governed by skill. This does include breaking up fights that would endanger those who have not chosen to become part of it. In this, you have lived up to Cord's desires. I have forgotten. And in this, I can see your confusion. That you would not make this choice that your brother made.
And yet, he still haunts me. I don't know why.
Your brother haunts you.
I can't get his voice out of my head. He thought it was a pendant that we were given with his soul inside, but current recent events that just happened make it seem that that is not the case. That
Only very powerful mortal souls can reach beyond the confines of Soulstone.
why
They
I
are
think
rare.
It is whatever piece of him is inside me. Thoughts, my memories.
Does this apparition make demands of you, my ally?
Oh, of course, he jokes and asks me to find him a body or challenge me to things. But
Did he ask you anything that was not a joke?
this last time wasn't a joke. He told me that this version of him that is talking to me, that is inside me, is a different version of the one that is in the planet.
Is that untrue?
I don't know. It could be, since it's my memories of Tatsuya, but it could still have those memories of him turning into an archdevil. So I don't know how different it could really be. Seeing the lengths that you would go to. He's going to. Are they actually by the water, or is this?
I figured it was a good place to stop. I mean, you could be
Okay.
walking along it.
Okay, no, that's fine. I was making sure that this wasn't just like, oh, the map's just not built out.
Yeah, no, this is the
going
coast.
He's going to find maybe some pebbles or whatnot, and try to skim them across the water. But he does a terrible job, and they just kind of like most of them just kind of plunk into the water.
Kubriel will plunge her hand into the sand and come up with like this perfect skipping stone and just skim it out there. A bunch of skips. You know,
Show off.
watching your form and just like trying to mimic it, but seeing what it is you're attempting to do. It goes a supernatural number of skips, and eventually you just hear a slap, and you'd see like this fish that had just jumped out of the water get smashed by the rock and splash into the water, only to surface again, bobbing, potentially dead.
Show off, you're an angel. It's not even fair.
And that is why we do not fight, my ally. Cord would not approve. Have you lain
Still
your
smart.
brother to rest?
Of course not. I never got the chance. All I have of him now is the pendant.
I am no emissary of the goddess of death, but I am familiar with her as an ally, a shadow on every battlefield. Ever present is she and her servants, and it always seemed important that the bodies of the warriors and their souls be moved on, lest they become ghosts trapped here. Your brother's soul, preserved in the soul stone, as you described. So he does not need to be kept from this haunting fate.
Thought we were going to find a way to bring him back to life.
I would not stop you from doing that, my ally. I care not if life or death occurs or when, only that the battle is righteous and fought well. That is my purpose here. But you are familiar with stories, I assume? Stories of the champion that preceded you.
Indeed.
You are aware that she had family.
Yes.
And
where she had a lover.
And you are aware of the turn, the mood, and the life of those left behind took when she fell and was not allowed to be laid to rest in the mind of those that cared about her.
That part's a little foggy. Supposedly, I had some stuff taken out of my mind.
You can't even remember it.
Oh, my ally. You have had such a life thrust upon you. Take it not as admonition when I say that Cord honors the sacrifice you have made in his name.
I do thank Cole. And I know he will give me the strength to get through this.
My ally, I wonder if a bit of my power, temporarily, might help you to see yourself through this turmoil.
Don't you need the power?
Like I said, only for a short while. I cannot undo what it is you have had done to you. Not for long, but it might help. I can think of no other way to assist you at this juncture, as we have no beasts to fell together. The sea is quiet. Even that fish I hit hasn't moved.
You certainly did a number.
Really did, didn't I? I like this body on this plane.
Yeah, I think it counted like 40 skips before you hit that fish. Jesus.
41.
Oh my god.
Ere long, my ally, you should be able to best that, once you are in the proper frame of mind, I think. Will you accept a temporary blessing of a servant of Cord?
I will accept it from you, my ally, Kubriel.
She's going to step up to you, standing a head taller than you, with her scales shining brilliantly in the sunlight as her hands begin to glow with light. And she's going to bring her hands together against the sides of your own draconic head, and you're going to feel this warmth from her. Her hands armored, so you know it is not from her flesh, but it is the warmth of this power that she uses. And as this warmth fills your mind and your skin, you are going to see images begin to resolve in your mind's eye. Memories. The vault of Garland, and the party moving through it, seeing each of these illusions that described some small piece of the Lich Minuet Kavara's life from before she made this eternal decision. Especially focusing in on the wedding, and the first time you found that you could influence these illusions, the memories, when she was there in her hometown, at her home, and received Vicky, the champion of Cord, as an emissary to her family, and that reaction she had to her entering. And you remember the desiccated husk that sat before you and described this relationship that she had as she imitated life as best she could in her lich form, and talked about what the loss of this person so important to her in that battle hundreds of years earlier had sparked in her and driven her to do, as she never let go, never allowed Bicky's sacrifice to be final, struggled endlessly to bring her back, even as she outwardly and verbally said, she's not coming back, and I can't let this happen to others. There was still some part of her that hoped, when Kord's power waned, that she could finally find some way of undoing that loss. But shining through all of that, something that you can now see with these extra months of travel and your experiences therein, that it's not just about the loss of the person and the solitude self-imposed thereafter that did this. It was the realization, one that perhaps she was never able to truly admit to herself, Inuit, that Vicky, Victoria Somerset, had not been all that time the person she thought she was. Because had she been this righteous beacon of hope, this person who charged into battle to stop the fights before they destroyed nations and innocents, had she been this person who believed in everything that was right and truly loved her, Minuit Kavara, she would not have chosen to sacrifice herself to Kord and to leave Minuit the way she had. And you, in the face of everything you've been told, this memory of Tatsuya sort of being the brother you remembered, and then at the end leading you around by the nose, trying to get you to some realization that just wasn't making itself clear. This is what you see again, this parallel of a person twisted by not being able to accept that things weren't the way they thought they were, and continue to grow. They stagnated. They became a lich.
As her hands still hold his head, these visions passing it through his eyes. I imagine his eyes kind of glowing a little bit, but slowly more and more tears begin to fall from his eyes down his cheeks.
You're going to feel those hands separate, lose contact with your skin, and that warmth is going to remain lingering for an extra moment before it begins to dissipate away. And you find you are lit by the sun and warmed by that, but you stand face to face with Kubriel, who looks into your eyes, her eyes also aglow. And she says, "Did my power assist you in any way, my ally?"
He takes a big breath. I think it did.
I attempted to suppress the magic or undo. I could not. I tried to restore what you had lost. I do not think it will last. They will fade again. But I'm hoping that it will help you to find that missing piece of yourself, of your journey, that will lead you to the revelation you need. I need you at your best in this fight to come, my ally. Core demands that of us.
The world demands of us.
Perhaps. The gods have existed a long time, and the world has continued to spin on. Few things of great import are determined on the outcome of a single fight. But many important things to smaller souls are. And it is for that I choose to fight alongside you.
I think I understand now.
Excellent.
I cannot keep thinking of what my brother was. It leads to stagnation. And there is no growth. He became different. And whether that is good or bad, I must accept it for what it was.
You see Curiel nodding along and smiling at you, though the smile is a bit embittered by the emotion of the words. You see that she is feeling the things you are feeling, understanding you in a way that perhaps you didn't expect from an angelic being. A lot of the very powerful creatures that you have met along the way have had a disconnect with the emotions of humanoids. She seems a little more understanding than, say, Lorelei.
Tatsuya is, or not Tatsuya, Raiken is going to look for, like, some kind of large rock or, like, kind of long rock or a stick.
Okay.
Close by.
You begin doing that, and Kubriel watches you as you look around, and she begins, like, pulling up rocks and offering them to you, mostly really good ones for throwing, like the one that she had done before.
He will take those rocks as well, and he will kind of create, like, a little kind of pyramidish
A cairn.
kind of formation, yes, with the rocks.
Yeah.
And he's going to use one of them, and in the sand in front of the cairn, he is going to draw a symbol of Bahamut and his brother's name, Tatsuya, underneath the symbol, and place that final rock on top of the cairn.
You do so. Beautiful. The
Not
cairn.
much, but what I can do for now.
The cairn sits in the wet sand at the edge of the surf, every now and again foam bubbling amongst the rocks, but there being too many of them to be moved by just this edge of tide. You can see that the water seeps into the sand and renews the glistening nature, but does not manage to obscure the symbol of Bahamut or your brother's name, even at times when you think the foam should. It always washes back, and the engraving in this soft substrate is as clear as it was when you made it, withstanding the force of nature.
It's a stubborn little Karen. Just like my brother.
Just like you, little brother. Thank you. I will cherish this place.
You'll always be with me still.
Yes, I will.
Just like mother and father.
I'm proud of you, Raiken. I hope that the version of me that will one day exist alongside you again can grow from this. He won't be me again, but I believe that your personality can guide him back to a place of honor, back to Bahamut.
I will do my best to guide him.
Fight with honor, little brother. For Cord.
I will do so.
You're going to just hazily, not even really sure if it's really something you're seeing or if it's just an effect of the mist in your eye, the spray of the ocean, the salt around you, but you feel like in one of the rays of light forming this corona at the corner of your eye as you look down upon the cairn, you're going to see the form of your brother clad in his old uniform when he served in the Arcosian military, saluting to you as he fades away.
Raiken will salute back before falling to his knees, still in salute, and crying, all while yelling out, "Brother!" And he will stay there, crying for a while, before he can't cry anymore.
As this, dies down, you're going to feel Kubriel compacting the sand behind you, and you're going to hear the clink of her armor as she kneels, and the weight of her hand as she rests it upon your shoulder. And she's going to sit silently, kneel silently in solidarity with you, asking nothing of you, simply being present. A manifestation of the will of Cord that you have always felt with you throughout your life. But the first time that it has been truly tangible.
Finally, Raiken will sniffles and breaths start to regulate a bit more. And he will stand up, turn to Kubriel. His face stoic, but he brings out a smile to her. Small smile. And he says, "Let's go kick some dragon ass."
She will return the smile a little bit broader as it comes more easily to her. And she says, "My ally, we will kick more ass than the bards can count and recount to the ones who would listen to their songs in 100 years.
Ha ha ha! I love it! Let's head back. But before they do, Raiken will find one last rock, and he will attempt to skim it on the water.
All right. Are you going to roll it, or shall we simply have a good moment?
Nope, I got that 20.
The dice knew.
It knew.
The dice knew. You're going to find this wonderful rock. It's going to look even better in your eyes than the one that Kubriel managed to pull out of nowhere. You're going to fit it into your hand, and it just fits perfectly against the contour of your palm. As you wind back, you can feel the sand packing beneath your feet, and just not a grain out of place. No unsteadiness in your posture at all as you step forward and whip your hand out before you, releasing the rock perfectly in the arc. And you're going to see the gray blur and hear the as it just skims along, and you see as it seems to be slowing, it suddenly catches the crest of a small incoming wave, and it kicks it up again as it continues out further. And you're going to see it's heading straight for the fish that she killed. And it skips off of that, spraying water droplets out in a ray around it, a starburst, before splashing back into the water. And Kubriel is going to raise her hiss above her head and say, "Yes! 42!
42!
An auspicious day, my ally! This bodes well of our future endeavors."
Yes, the blessings of Cord are upon us.
You begin your way back toward the World Over Inn as the sun makes its descent toward the horizon. Those long shadows of the cairn catching your heels as you go.
Raiken feels lighter, a weight that had been bringing him, holding him down. Now, all gone.
There is a spring in your step. You feel yourself again. And of course, the voice of Tatsuya no longer chiding you. But it does not feel an emptiness. It is a good kind of quiet. You know that he's where he belongs, within your heart once again. And things are more right than they have been in days.
We get to the inn. And Raiken yells to Ruby, "A nice big plate of meat, please."
All right then. Not being picky about what I see, I'll give you a sampling.
Oh, perfect.
And she will bring you a very large plate of many different meats. And of course, ale to wash it down.
Yes.
Now then. Excellent scene. Thank you for that. If you need inspiration, please take it.
What if I already have inspiration?
Then you can feel awesome.
Okay.
As a minor action.
Raiken always feels that way. That's fine.
Alright, let us skip back to Yukikaze. And Leah, are you going to accompany him as he goes to, or are you all just going to utilize the bond to be with him?
You does the bond, I think.
Use the bond? Okay, so you don't want
I don't think I'm particularly close, am I?
what do you mean? Close.
To like Raiken? Sorry, I think I might have misunderstood the question.
I'm skipping to the scene with Yukikaze addressing Clevergill, which was what he was going to do before I jumped to Raiken. So, did you guys seen talking about dealing with the army? Went and did Raiken dealing with his brother, and now come back to you going ahead with this plan to explain your position with the dragons to Clevergill before potentially taking off to the Empire of the Four Queens army. So, you know that Yukikaze, being the general, is the one who needs to do the talking, but you can choose to be there physically or simply use the bond, because he said he was going to include all of you on that to get your support as he talks to this guy to say the right things. So would you like to be there physically?
Yeah, I think I want to be there.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Jebel, would you like to
Oh,
be there?
yeah. If
Yes.
he's meeting Clevergill, he can't be in the mansion.
Yes. Clevergill doesn't currently
yeah.
have access to the mansion unless somebody wanted to convince Lair to give him access to it.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
No, but we were also discussing having him come to the room because it still has the private sanctum, or the...
Sure. I just
Yeah,
want to
but
know who
you
wants to
can't
be
take
there
that.
physically and who wants to rely purely on the bond to be able to think at you whatever they want.
Larametas can also cast Private Sanctum anywhere else that you want him to, if you would prefer him to cast it in a different place, so that you're not taking him back to the room.
No, that's not a
There's a
concentration
better
spell,
place.
right? Is that it?
It is not.
So, and you can have multiple ones up as long as they don't overlap, or does casting it again get rid of a previous casting?
I don't believe casting it again gets rid of previous one.
Okay, so you could have it in a second location. I just wanted to make sure if this one in the room is lost, if you make a new one or not. That's all I care about.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about that in the spell.
Okay, then probably not. You can probably have more than one.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with that.
Do we have an office?
You have your room. You could make an office in some building, though most that aren't occupied by people who aren't part of the army in this city have been destroyed. But, you know from dealing with him prior, he's pretty averse to taking orders. So if you're going to go over to the army where he's overseeing things to talk to him, he's probably going to just be stubborn and make you talk to him there. Like, you can kind of surmise that.
It's not going to be an order, though. I'll be like, I need to discuss something with you. Let's see. I need to discuss something with you, and I would like it to be in private.
Alright.
Is I don't believe that's very orderish. Like, I'm not telling him, you have to come with me right now because we need to talk. I'd just be like, I would like to speak with you in private. Well, anyways, so are we going to...
Good phrase to get that is if you have a moment.
No, I don't want to seem too weak. I don't want that like Trista was emphasizing earlier, got to be a little more stern.
Okay.
So, we're gonna proceed to the scene?
Yeah, we are. Claramendus, it takes 10 minutes for you to set up the sanctum?
Yes, it would take 10 minutes to set up a sanctum if there's a location that
We were
you
gonna...
want me to set it up in.
We could use the secondary, or we'll ask Ruby nicely if we can use the room downstairs. That's more of like a meeting space.
Wait, which?
You will find...
Isn't there was a place that was more like a meeting space because you said we could use it, and then we were like, wait a minute.
I think you're thinking of Boar Hunter Lodge. Boar Hunter Lodge had a lounge in which meetings could be held.
Oh, I thought there was something here too.
The tavern's mostly the tavern space and then the bedroom spaces. Like there is an area that's like farther away from the door that is probably where nobody's gonna be, but again, the Tritons pretty much have the whole of the army locked down, so the whole tavern's pretty empty right now. Like it's pretty much just Ruby and her staff. And a couple non-essentials from the army.
So what about
Kevin?
I think that he's just going. He's going. So you come to demand this audience with him and tell him you want it to be in private. And he there overseeing things. He's got advisors around him, and now and again he's issuing an order, but he's mostly just watching and then receiving reports and sending people off to give his messages out to the army. So as you approach and demand that, he's going to greet you and say, General Yuki Kase, you have something to say.
Not just to say, I have a matter that needs to be discussed.
Very well. He waves and his attendants, move out of earshot, but still able to see you. What do you discuss?
This matter I would like to discuss at the tavern, if you would not, this matter I'd like to discuss at the tavern.
Very.
It is a matter that I wish to keep private.
Keep private. Privacy, he says, indicating the empty space around you.
More, it needs to be away from where it's something that you understand the value of how information is controlled and distributed within the army, and it's to keep any either accidental prying ears or purposefully prying ears.
Understand, General. Many words. He's going to point past you, Laramendus, this clawed finger, indicating you. And he says, Your Magister. Spell.
I can cast a private the two Yukigaze. He'll say I can cast a private sanctum here if that is sufficient.
He's going to wave his hand, out yeah, see.
Very well. Please proceed, Larmendus.
He's going to wave to his attendants that he had sent away, and they're going to come back in, giving him new reports and everything, as he simply continues doing what he was doing before you got there, while Larmendus does his thing. After a couple of minutes of this, and you'll notice every now and then, Larmendus, as you're going around performing the ritual, he's going to be watching you, and like over time, his eyes keep tracking to you, and he seems to be growing impatient. He's going to snap his fingers, and one of the attendants he's going to say something to them. I don't suppose anyone speaks Aquan.
Hell no.
He's
Just
going
primordial.
he's going to say something to them in water, and they're going to depart. And another minute later, they're going to come back with 2 other Tritons who are decked out more loosely in their garb, and they carry more colorful shells on their instruments, their weapons and things. And he's going to point, wave almost dismissively toward Larmendus, and say something again in Aquan, at which point the 2 are going to move over to you, Larmendus, and they're going to study what you were doing for roughly 30 seconds, and you get the idea that they are gauging where you are in the ritual, what you're doing, and if they know what to do. And you see that, at first they're a little confused, but slowly they kind of nod along as they begin to you think they may be, translating it into a ritual they do know. And they begin moving with you.
Oh,
I
you're
have a
taking
question.
too much time. They're speeding you up.
They're speeding you up. You will complete the ritual in half the time. Half of the remaining time.
Yeah.
From when they join.
Larmendus is thrilled with this. Not because it saves, 3 minutes.
But it's cool that they can do it.
Yeah, and he wants to spend some time talking to them.
I have a question. What's the difference between primordial as a language then and the sub-languages?
So, as the name implies, the sub-languages derive from primordial. So, there is a little bit of, what do they call it? Mutual comprehension between the languages. So, if you speak Aquan and somebody speaks primordial, you might be able to get snippets of it and understand little bits here and there. But if you speak primordial and someone speaks Aquan, for example, or Ignan, you're going to understand most of what they said, because their language derived from primordial. So you speak primordial right now, right?
I have a few lessons in it.
Okay, so that means you get to roll. You should have a little chart there that says how many lessons you had and what that says about the difficulty of the roll to understand.
Yeah, I have to.
Who are you learning rock from?
Me.
Cyrus.
You speak rock?
I speak primordial. I don't speak rock or water or air. I speak a bit of all of them.
Kaze speaks rock.
It's true.
Yeah.
Save the party. I am pleased that I have managed to make some of these more esoteric languages very feel very good to know.
Yeah, it's always fun when they can actually come into things.
Primordial's a weird one.
Yeah, I don't have a clue.
Wait, if I speak Terran, or does that mean I can understand primordial?
It means that you would understand little bits here and there of primordial, because Terran came from primordial, so there would be some similarities that got carried over. But because it's derived down into from primordial into Terran, it means that primordial speakers are more likely to understand it than the other way. At least that's how I'm running it, though right now when I'm thinking of, like, Quebecois, that doesn't make much sense. Quebecois speakers are more likely to understand Parisian French than Parisian French speakers to understand Quebecois, and Quebecois derived from Parisian French. Oh well. I'm still gonna run it this way. I think it makes more... It makes... It works better for me, math-wise. Language works better math-wise. Pinned messages. There should be a lesson explanation in the pinned messages. Right there. So, do you have marked on your sheet how many hours of the language you've studied?
Oh, I rolled. I didn't get high enough.
Oh, okay. I thought you had said that you
I have it.
didn't.
I have
Okay.
it in my notes.
Gotcha. So yeah, he said something. You picked up like him and there, but those weren't really helpful to the meaning.
Really need to get back to learning languages.
Been a long time.
The last time I studied a language, I was level 9. Now I am level 20. It might be a little late. I waited too long.
Never too late.
Now it's only been like 2 weeks in game.
That's not actually true. It has been longer than 2 weeks. Not a lot longer than 2 weeks, but it has been longer.
So, fun fact about Primordial: in the monster manual, there are 2 monsters that speak it.
Huh.
There are some other things that technically speak it, but they have the category of all, which is cheating.
Gotcha. Is one of these the Aboleth?
No. Kraken, Night Hag.
You can speak Primordial to the Kraken. Make a friend.
And technically, like a variant of the Night Hag, too, but that's still just Night Hag.
Okay. So.
Just that kind of hag?
Yeah, just the Night Hag. Okay. So, you get done with the private sanctum faster as these Triton mages help you to complete the ritual. And as they do so, they're going to bow to their leader and dismiss themselves. You're going to notice that all of the Tritons that are not Clevergill are going to pull back beyond the invisible border of the box. And you stand here within the box with your Lieutenants General, whom he looks at.
I think that Laramendus is going to telepath. I believe that with that we should be outside of the area.
That's fine.
And Laramendus will retreat beyond the borders of the private sanctum.
Alright, as you know, you don't have to go too far to get there, so you can't hear what they're saying, but you do know that Yuki already intended to convey what was going on between them over the bond. Not that...
It's one of the reasons why Laramendus is okay, like fully okay doing that, because it does not impact us in any way.
Yup.
But it looks better.
So, once the Lieutenants General retreat, during which Clevergill was completely silent, simply giving hand gestures. He can't do that. The walls would be opaque.
So, Laramendus would have asked Yukikaze which of the things he wanted. Did he want it to... So, we wanted no sound.
Yep.
For certain, but I wasn't sure if Yukikaze wanted the fog to make it so people couldn't see through it. Mostly because that feels more threatening
No,
of
yeah,
isolating him,
would...
but like it also means that if he reacts in a way that is loud, then other people wouldn't be able to see him do that and all that kind of stuff.
I would have said verbally, clear is fine, and then over the bond I would have said, knowing or believing his character as a general, I do not think he'll overreact or give too many facial expressions that would cause an issue or cause anything. It's mainly just prying ears.
Okay,
But it could lip read though.
Just thinking about that, how do you lip read a dragonborn?
Our main concern isn't so much the people here, I would imagine it's more people scrying or things from a distance. I think we can trust him and his immediate subordinates.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah.
it'll be sound and so I guess pretty much everything other than the fog is what it is.
Okay. Then he will continue to give hand gestures to the people outside of the box, which they seem to look for every now and then they simply go back to doing something. So whatever these hand gestures mean, whether they're I'm fine or continue on, or if there's something more intricate, it's not clear to you, but they're conveying whatever it is these people are looking for.
Okay. So then after that's all set and it looks like he's done and paying attention to me, I will start to speak.
Yes.
I will speak. So there's two things that I would like to discuss. The first thing is important, I believe, is important for our alliance because of your standing with a situation that we have. So first thing is, in the process of acquiring 2 of our scales for sealing the dragons, we were given an opportunity when we came across the dragon Azurai. I do not know if you know Azurai.
He's going to look at you for a moment and then understand that you're looking for a response from him. He's going to say, I do not know Dragon Azurai.
So, Dragon Azurai is a brood of Elsementh, the blue dragon.
Lightning King.
Correct. So, in the process of, we came across Azurai, and we founded an opportunity, and Azurai also gave us, or no, like
weakness.
Scratch that. Azurai, we were able to convince Azurai to give us two of the scales for his sire's scale. And
nice.
also brokered in brokering this deal, we can't directly
weakness.
What's up?
As a result of our actions, we have limited our options as weakness.
This wasn't the way I was trying to word it.
It's a trade-off. In return for one thing.
With Elsementh and his word.
It's two things, technically. Over the bond.
Yeah, obviously.
It's two things. I gotta say it in the sense of it's two things. We got two scales in trade for a scale and not and not directly going against him was the bargain that we
Well,
convinced him.
2 scales and was he?
There's supposed to be a meeting with Elsementh to work out him turning on the other dragons.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I was going to word it that way. I forgot. I got caught up with our gap in
It's an
time.
opportunity to split the dragon's forces.
Okay, that's right. So, back in character, I'm gonna backpedal just a small bit. I'm gonna say, so we were met with an opportunity in meeting Elsementh, one of Azurai's brood, and we convinced him to ally with us, or well, we traded 2 scales for his sire's scale, and we also took the opportunity to have them as an ally to turn on the other dragons.
Okay. Very good. We assume that your character says that as powerfully and concisely as possible. Flip that, we traded 2 scales for a sire scale, to we traded the sire scale for the 2 scales he had. He's going to say, you agree not fight Lightning King, but get scales of others.
We did not agree not to go after Lightning. We agreed not to go against Azurai.
He looks a bit confused.
No, sorry. Elsementh. I always get the names confused.
But he looks... he looks confused.
That is the lightning.
Elsementh is the Lightning King.
Yeah, that's the grandsire.
Right.
I meant to,
But he looks confused and says, but cannot fight Lightning King without scale. Gave up scale. Correct?
Correct.
So, agreed not fight Lightning King.
Yes. That is what we're at.
Gained
Yes.
Lightning Brood as ally against other dragons.
Yes. We took the
Is
opportunity.
Letting us know what's being said.
Yes.
Yes, I am conveying it as he's saying it through thought.
So, for all intents and purposes, despite the fact that you're outside the thing, everyone knows exactly what's being said in this conversation both ways.
Well, Jabba said you should tell him that it had always been the plan to try and ally with one of the dragons in order to weaken them as a whole. And that the opportunity arose and we took it.
So, as he stated, it's like, as he stated that last part that said not to fight the Lightning King, I'll say, yes, our plan was to ally with one of the dragons to weaken the other dragons. And this also was before we have become acquainted with you. It was our plan from the start.
He narrows his eyes as he parses through your words and seems to be kind of figuring out your meaning more slowly, as this is not his native language. And he says, bold plan, but one dragon less dangerous than 5. Understand.
And
Not
we do. Oh,
agree.
sorry.
Understand.
Which I find that is reasonable that you feel that way. Or you understand. For your also, he doesn't know about the other one, so I also say we also were able to keep one other dragon sealed, so only 3 with Lightning King out of the picture too. That leaves only 3 to deal with.
One other still sealed.
Correct.
Which one?
Was it white guys?
Yeah.
Whittemere.
Yes,
Yep.
Whittemere the White Dragon.
I will say Whittemere the White Dragon.
White. Beast of rhyme. Yes. Very good. Unpredictable. Difficult. Control. No person. Rhyme. Beast. Trust. Do you? Lightning King. Ally.
I'd say we trust him to serve his own interests, which I believe this is.
I trust that he will. Well, how'd you say that, Vendor?
I would trust that he will serve his own interests, which I believe this will. So, I believe this plan will serve his interests, and trust that he will.
I believe that he will. I trust in his interests, but I do not trust him as a whole. That he'll serve his own interests. I'll trust that he'll serve his own interests, but not him as a whole.
Difficult prospect for me to accept. My people, the Tritons, you know, we ally with Lightning Slayer. We guard remains of Lightning King at the bottom of the ocean. Generations. My people, proud of service, our oath to Lightning Slayer.
That is why I am telling you this now instead of keeping it from you. Because I want to be true to our alliance.
He begins to nod slowly while staring very strongly at you, his gaze boring into you as though he could see whether or not you're telling the truth, though you don't believe that to be the case. It seems just that he is trying to. Before he says, "A honorable decision, one worthy of Lightning Slayer, I think." Had not told me until end, would have damaged trust. Understand?
Well, so also, with that, I don't know if you have any questions about anything else with it, but if not, I would like to tell you the next part of the thing I'd like to discuss with you.
Question. When meeting Lightning King, what demands to make?
Other it's very dangerous, the wording with a dragon. We have not formulated how exactly, or we did not formulate the response completely.
We are still discussing it.
We are still discussing it.
Discuss.
Me and my lieutenant generals. And as you see, the wizard that casts a spell is very knowledgeable, and I rely on his knowledge.
Have time before meeting Lightning King.
We do not know, or there is no set time at the moment.
Dangerous. Suggestion, general to general.
I am completely open to anything you have to offer.
Set time. Meeting Lightning King.
Okay.
Demand. Demand safety. My people. My people's safety. No revenge.
I find that, yes, I find that a reasonable thing for me to do.
He nods, looking very concerned. Generations guarding remains, preventing return. Grudge against my people, Lightning King would have.
That makes sense. I will formulate our demands with the Lightning King that will incorporate the safety of your people.
He nods at this, and you see that that look of consternation, that look of concern on his face has lessened considerably. You get the feeling that he has moved past that discussion, though not stated so verbally. And he says, turning slightly away from you toward where the army trains, and he says, "Progress is good. Soldiers improving. We will deliver good army."
Yes, you guys are doing a great job. With the well-structuredness of your army, would you be able to step away, possibly in the next couple of days, for a short while?
Short.
Yes,
How short?
We are currently we are going to set up a time to meet up with the Empire of the Four Queen Generals, which is the army we are meeting at.
Yes. More allies.
Yes.
Meeting set.
We have to contact one general tomorrow. We do not have any more magic at our disposal to send to the last general today. And we are sending tomorrow to finalize the meeting.
Okay. General wishes General's presence.
I do.
There are no generals here.
That's a good point. Maybe we should leave him here just for the army. I guess Thandros is still here, though.
If you do not believe that if you do not feel the need to come and just to keep working with the army, that is fine. But being that we're allies, I wanted to give you, or to take you with us if that was what you believe would be the best.
I'm just going to adopt a thoughtful expression. He says, "We allies. Yes. Apologies, General. Ways of land different from sea. Understand?"
Yes.
I will, for Alliance, do this. I will do as land. Understand?
All right. Okay. That was all I had to discuss, was to inform you about the situation with the Lightning King, and then to ask you if you wish to go with us to the meeting.
Yes.
And that's all I had for you, or for our discussion.
Very good, General. Set meeting and inform this general. Me.
Okay. I will do that, and it's great.
Agree. He's going to kind of say uncertainly and extend his webbed clawed hand at you.
I'll shake his hand and say, I'm going to start working on things right now.
Good, General.
Alright, and so I will turn to Laramandus and talk over the bond, but act like I'm signaling him that he can disperse the magic.
You just make some hand gestures at me while being like, get rid of the sanctum.
He's going to just immediately, like, once your conversation and once you release his hand, he's going to turn and he's going to walk out past where the sanctum ends, and he's going to start gesturing at his advisors who come up to him, and he begins speaking to them in Aquan.
Alright. Okay, that's done with.
Laramandus will dismiss the private sanctum since Yukikaze has asked him to. It's an action to dismiss it.
I'm gonna say over the bond. I felt like I did that horribly.
Like it went poorly.
Yeah, I think. I guess I didn't roll insight to have a good idea if it went well or not, but
one of the advisors to Clevergill is going to move up once you dismiss the sanctum. He's going to move into where the sanctum was to address Yukikaze directly and say, "The general conveys his thanks for speaking to him, general to general. He awaits your signal for your meeting."
Does by him sending you here, does he wish me to inform you instead of him directly?
He's going to look over his shoulder, and you can see that the Clevergill is watching them, and he nods and gestures at the guy who turns back, and he says in a lower voice, he says, "The general is concerned that his mastery of your language presented a barrier, and so he wished to make sure he was understood by asking me to convey it."
No. I got you. If he asks you later, I understood everything he said, and it was completely understandable.
And
on the bond,
from that,
will say you should probably thank him for the gesture.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I thank him very much for the gesture.
And from over where the General Clevergill is, he's going to say, "Ah, good understanding. Thank you." And the aide who was talking to you directly, conveying these words, looks mortified.
Chris, you suck.
He thought that the private sanctum was still there.
Listen, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to get a drink. I'm sick of your crap, Tristan.
You didn't do anything wrong. Laramandus did
Okay,
this.
all right, you know what? I'm gonna just be polite and do whatever is appropriate and walk away back and get food because I'm done.
I do not know that Laramandus would have even gestured to do it because it's just
It's just
basically
an action.
just a thought to get rid of it. So Yukikaze told him to get rid of it, and he's like,
Okay. It's gone.
And then
yeah, so nobody knew that you were doing this, but then he's talking, and the Clevergill just realizes, oh, I can hear it. The sanctum is gone.
I'm done.
He seems
I'm
less bothered than the aide who was, protecting the general's.
Oh, yeah, no, this poor man is not doing
No. You know what, Tristan, you just suck.
General waves at you happily. Okay, well that brings us to 10:30.
Yeah. Very well timed.
Yeah. Thank you all for participating. And I think we had a few really good scenes today. Like 3 of them. So, yeah. Hopefully I will see you all next week. But I will see you whenever we meet next. On Everybody Loves Raiken. Bye, stream.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.